y'all, Farmer Dre back at it. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. And as you guys know, we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So if you guys would do that, I would appreciate it. Alrighty, so today I'm going to be talking about why we replant our strawberries every year and how the plastic culture system works on the strawberries. If you guys watched my last video, I went ahead and showed you guys that. But it's dark outside, and I committed to posting a video every day. So here I am, uploading a video for you guys, making a video for you guys. And I wish I could be outside to show you guys, but it is what it is. I'm just going to be talking a whole lot today. So, well, let's get into today's video. Alrighty, so I had quite a bit of people comment and ask me why we replant our strawberries every year. And, you know, it's kind of, there's multiple reasons why. But the way we grow our strawberries are on the plastic culture system. So we are implementing plastic in agriculture, so plastic culture. And the reason we are doing that, there's multiple benefits in our area. And first of all, you know, as you guys know, on small farms, plastic is used quite a bit just for weed suppression to keep the weeds around the plants down. And, you know, that's on mainly a lot of summer crops. But on strawberries in particular, there are many benefits of using plastic and the drip tape on strawberries. So the first reason why we use the plastic on the strawberries in the plastic culture system is for weed suppression, to keep the weeds down next to the plants. The second reason is to help warm up the soil in the spring and in the fall. So strawberries are not a very heat tolerant crop, so they can't take those really, really warm days. So they can't take those 95 plus days. The plant just doesn't do much. But whenever it's cold or cooler outside, fall and spring, they thrive in about 65 degree weather, 55 to 65 degrees. They just absolutely thrive in that weather. So as you guys know, we plant our strawberries in the fall. So the way we grow our strawberries, we plant them in the fall. So every September, we plant our strawberries. And, you know, I'm still new to the entire strawberry game. So I'm still finding out that perfect time or the perfect date to plant. So, you know, I'm still messing around that, but any time in September, you know, is generally a time to plant in our area. We plant them in September. When they continue growing vegetatively down in the roots and down at the crown of the plant, they go ahead and start developing their crowns and their root system. So with strawberries, you want to have 4 to 5, maybe 6 crowns developed by the end of the season. So the longer time, the longer, nicer days you have in the fall, the more production you're going to see in the spring because more crowns are going to be developed. The general rule is you want to have at least 4 to 5, maybe 6 crowns developed. And if you get more crowns developed, then the strawberries will get smaller and smaller. So if you do plant strawberries in, let's say, like June or July, first of all, you're going to have a lot of issues with temperature. You got to keep the plants cool. But if you do get plants to grow that early in the summer, then by the time the freezes come and then you have to throw the row covers on before the plants acclimate to the cold weather, you might have 7 to 10 crowns developed. And then in the spring you'll get a lot of berries, but the berries will be really small because the plant wasn't big enough to go ahead and support that many crowns. So in our area, like I said, you want 4 to 5 crowns because you have a nice even distribution of nice large, super large strawberries that will produce, you know, anywhere from a pound and a half per plant. So that sweet spot is anywhere 4 to 5, 6 crowns on each strawberry plant. So the way it works with the crowns, and this is from my understanding of strawberry production, and like I said, you know, this is our second year ever planting strawberries, so I'm no expert at this, but, you know, I'm trying to share as much information as I can with you guys. So once you have all those crowns developed, the plants won't flower until the temperature warms up and then the day length increases. So if you have a really warm spring and the day length is still short, the plants won't be as fast as developing as coming out of dormancy as they would if, let's say, it's in May. So generally in our area, we like to throw the row covers on sometime in November. This year it's already November 18th and we still haven't put the row covers on. It's still supposed to stay warm until about the middle of December. So we will have a good majority of all the plants have a really good developed crown. So last year we went ahead and put on the row covers, I believe November 9th, because it got down to like 13 or 14 degrees. So once the outside temperature reaches that below 20 degrees, you want to go ahead and throw on the row covers just so you can protect the crowns, because you can lose your crowns to cold weather and cold damage. So that's why you want to go ahead and throw the row covers on. And for the home gardeners, you know, I understand that you guys, you know, home row covers is kind of confusing to you guys. So a way to protect your strawberries in the winter, just throw, you know, a good 6 to 8 inches of mulch or straw. And that's how strawberries used to be grown. That's why they're called strawberries, because farmers would use straw to throw on top of their strawberry plants so they could be protected from the colds. But, you know, whenever you're doing, like we have 2.5 acres back there, you know, 2.5 acres of straw is quite a bit. So the most effective and most efficient way for us is use those row covers. It's just a big old blanket we throw on top of the strawberries, and it protects them. And last year I did a trial just to see how it is, you know, difference between no row covers and with row covers. And I just got a high-low temperature gauge and threw it underneath the row cover there whenever we had them on. And the row covers, it was 9 degrees warmer underneath the row covers than it was outside of the row cover. So I believe that day got down to like 29 or 27, and outside temperature was 27. Inside, underneath the row covers, it was like 30. What's 9 plus? Anyways, it was 9 degrees warmer. You could tell I've had a long day. So yeah, the reason you want to use the row covers is to go ahead and protect that crown, so you won't lose any crowns to cold. Once it warms up in the spring, you know, the plants will go ahead and start going up again. You generally in this area, the rule of thumb is to pull off the row covers about the last week of February, because that's when the daily starts getting bigger, the temperatures start warming up. And one of the big benefits to using that black plastic in the spring, especially out here in Southwest Missouri, is so that soil temperature increase. And once the roots and the soil temperature is up to a certain level, then the plants, you know, it hit the trigger point in them, and they just start growing and producing. So, you know, as you develop the crowns in the fall, that's how the crowns are going to be sending it out in the spring. So on June-bearing varieties, and this is all June-bearing varieties, we don't grow any day neutrals. I'm trying a few day neutrals inside the high tunnel, but these are all June-bearing varieties. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video. Yeah, we're only growing June-bearing varieties. So with that said, you know, the plants start coming back to life. They start, you know, sending out that vegetative growth, and boom, you see a flower, you see 2 flowers, and you see a whole entire crown get developed and pushed out there. So generally in our area, like I said, we pull off the row covers about the last week of February, and about March, you know, majority of the plants are, you know, they come back to life. You know, you don't ever see the plants die or anything because they're still green, and a strawberry plant can take up to like 0 degrees before any of the leaves start dying off. So, you know, the leaves themselves are really cold tolerant. But like I said, we're in the fruit business, not in the plant business. So we got to protect the fruit of the plant. So about middle of March, the plants start come back to life. You know, they're actively growing. And by the first week of April, we have, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of flowers out there. You know, if each strawberry plant has anywhere from 20 to 30 flowers on there times 35,000 plants, that's a lot of flowers. So that time, whenever, you know, end of March, beginning of April, and the whole month of April, we really got to watch the weather, just because, you know, open bloom at strawberries could take up to 30 degrees. So once it drops at 30 degrees or lower, the flower is dead. And let's say you do have a few fruit that have been pollinated, then those fruit can take up to negative 25 degrees. Not negative 25, that's below freezing, but so up to 25 degrees, and then once it reaches at 25 degrees, then the entire, you know, you lost your entire crop until more and more flowers get developed. But we, you know, one of the biggest things and the biggest, you know, challenges we have is putting the row covers on and off in the spring. So like I said, if we have a cold night calling for 30 degrees, we go ahead and throw those row covers back on, just because if we have, let's say, 500,000 flowers out there, we are obviously going to try to save those because that's the production for that year. And once a flower crown has developed, so once a crown has developed, you know, and let's say hypothetically speaking, you know, crown's developed, you get frosted out, you will never see that crown again. That crown is completely toasted with. So that's why it's very critical to, you know, protect those crowns as much as possible. And generally, you know, in our area, strawberry season starts about the first week of May and ends at about the last week of May. So we harvest strawberries for about 4 to 5 weeks, 5 weeks at max, just because in June it gets so hot and we get so humid in this area that the flowers do not pollinate anymore once you reach that 90-degree weather. The flowers just, the pollen doesn't fall right. You get a lot of misshapen fruit. You get a lot of small fruit. So if our peak strawberry season is about the middle of May. So I know I talked a lot of there, but that's how the strawberry, that's how we grow and plant our strawberries. So now let's get into the juicy part of this video, is why do we plant our strawberries every year? So you guys notice from my videos, we go through, rip everything out and start off new every single year. So the way we grow our strawberries on the plasticulture system, researchers have done studies over the years and they've got this down to a science. So they say that a strawberry plant in its first year, you develop that crown for the first time on a young plant and produce it in the spring. That's when the strawberry plant's gonna be most productive. So if you leave that plant in the ground, strawberry plants are perennial, so they'll live for many, many years. But like I mentioned earlier, we're in the fruit business. We're not in the plant business. So we gotta be able to sell the fruit before, so we could make some income on the farm. So on a strawberry plant, the most production you're gonna see in the first year. In the second year, production dies in half. In the third year, half of last year. So let's say we produce a pound per plant in our first year, which is pretty typical in this area. Next year, in the second year, you'll see a ½ pound per plant. In the third year, you'll see a $1/4 pound per plant. So it just doesn't make sense, and it's not really feasible to keep plants in the ground every single year. And there's a price break point whenever you're planting, whenever we're buying our plugs. So it doesn't justify to keep those strawberries in the ground, because of course, land is very valuable. So if you're not trying to get the most out of your land, you're just losing money. So that is from a production standpoint. That's why we pull out these strawberries every year. But then again, from a disease management standpoint, strawberries in this area are very susceptible to botrytis, anthracnose, and anthracnose is gray mold or botrytis. Anyways, we fight anthracnose and botrytis real bad in this area. So by the end of May and beginning of June, the plants are just infested. I mean, they're just, the botrytis and anthracnose are just thriving in those warm conditions. So it's really, really hard to keep those plants really healthy over the summer, so that in the fall you go ahead and start the crown development process again. So from a disease management standpoint, it just makes more sense to pull out the plants every year and start new. And whenever you're planting strawberries, I highly recommend buying from a certified nursery, so you get really, really clean plants. So if you have a disease in the plant nursery stock, then you plant it out in your field. Your field already has a disease, so you're gonna just fight that off, all summer long or all spring long, and then you're just never gonna see the production out of your plants, because anything that could put pressure against your plants will obviously cause a yield. So, keeping the plants clean and safe and sanitary whenever you move them out there is key to a successful strawberry patch. So that is some of the reasons why we replant strawberries every year. And with the production in the first year, it makes sense. It even obviously pays for the drip tape, plastic. It just does that. And I was talking to other farmers, a couple years ago, and they told me if you produce a pint per plant, you've already paid for all your production. But all your input costs, you pay for all your input costs, and then everything else is profit. But as you guys noticed, last year I planted 10,000 strawberry plants, and we produced a ½ pound per plant. And a ½ pound per plant is, right over a pint. And if you're selling them at a right price, you could, it's easily a big return on investment at the right price. And they were just saying that just for the wholesaler farms. So, out in Ohio and Michigan and all around the Great Lakes, there's huge old strawberry operations that, they can't get rid of their strawberries if they don't ship them out. So, for the wholesalers and the shippers, they have to get that, those really high numbers, because they're not selling them at a premium price. But if you're doing U-pick like we are in the farmers markets, you can easily get a premium price if you have a really, really good tasting berry, a really good quality berry. And, whenever you're doing the U-pick, you're not just selling the strawberries, you're selling the attraction of it, you're selling the experience. So that's where that comes in really handy. So, I could get into the marketing and the business aspect of it later on in a different video. But, I hope I answered some of you guys' questions. So that's why we replant our strawberries every single year. And like I mentioned, we, in September is the right time. And this year we started planting on the 19th or 20th. And I believe, just looking at the plants and how they are, you know, now, this time of year, I mean, as you guys saw in my last video, the Roccos are just absolutely enormous. Biggest strawberry plants I've ever seen. But, you know, I think if I plant them, you know, have them done planted by the 15th, then I'll see more production and a bigger and healthier plant. But like I said, it's just a learning experience. See what works in your area with your soil type. And, you know, it's funny to see because we have quite a bit of rocks in our soils out here in Southwest Missouri. And if you guys are from around the area, you guys know that we grow more rocks than soil. So in our strawberry field, in our 2.5 acre strawberry field, you know, right next to that fence line there, you know, the soil is really nice clay loam. But as you move towards the woods there, it becomes a lot more rockier. And I can, you know, this size difference in plants is just, it's an obvious difference. That, you know, I've done the same thing, you know, amended the soil the same, you know, treated the plants the same, but just that different soil type makes a huge difference, especially with strawberries and the production and just that vegetative production in the fall. With strawberries, they're like a high risk, high reward kind of crop. So, you know, it does take a lot of investment up front. It takes a lot of time and energy up front, but if you do it right, you know, the reward is really high. And, you know, I'll probably get into the numbers in a different video, but you know, like I said, we did a half acre last year, and we jumped to doing 2.5 acres this year. So you guys know that, you know, if something works out, you do more of it until, you know, you're satisfied with your customers. So this is gonna be pretty much it for today. Like I mentioned, you know, I do apologize for the, you know, I'm not out in the field, I'm not working. I've been all day helping out Val. So, you know, I made this commitment to come to you guys every single day. So I'm in our basement right now. And I thought about starting a podcast, but, you know, I just want to keep everything transparent with you guys out here on the YouTube channel. So this is going to be pretty much it for today. If you guys haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button and smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, I'm uploading every day until I hit 10,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, I really would appreciate it. If you guys want some Farmer Dre or Real Farmer merch, go ahead and click the link down in the description box below. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you next time.